Hey y'all, it is Taylor Bridges here, back with another video, specifically another review of Married at First Sight, Season 16, Episode 12. This episode is titled, Get Into the Crust. I know I've been MIA. I've just been extremely tired, exhausted, burnt out. I couldn't even bring myself to watch anything, let alone take notes and review it. I just needed a week, a break. But I'm back and I'm better and I'm gonna catch up on everything. I just watched this episode like yesterday, so I'm so hyped. This is all still new to me, even though the more recent episode has already come out. I'm gonna watch that tonight. And I saw Kirsten and Shaq kiss in the episode recap at the beginning, so I was already really excited for the episode. Nicole and Chris, they're doing goat yoga with her dad tagging along. I was wondering how it smelled in there. Chris wants Nicole's dad's perspective on her transformation and growth, essentially, right? And her dad explains how Nicole became distant after the divorce between Nicole's mother and father. And she was being a bit bratty and attitudinal, like most teenagers and early 20-year-olds are with their parents. The dad says that Nicole is the most content she's been thus far, which I think is a great compliment. The dad seems to be opening up to the reality of Chris being Nicole's husband and Chris being his son-in-law. He even tells Chris to call him dad. He's pretty much opened up and accepted Chris way faster than even he expected. So that must be a really big relief for Nicole. Nicole's eyes are gorgeous. They're doing these questions from the experts and their scene was good. You know, honestly, it was just nothing new. You know, Chris admits, they're pretty open and vulnerable with each other. They've been like this since day one, literally since right after the wedding, right after they got married. Chris does admit that his biggest insecurity is his relationship history, and that's understandable. And I think Nicole is a great partner to provide the reassurance and appreciation that Chris needs now in this point in life. And it's crazy because I really assumed at the beginning of the season that Nicole would be the more annoying one who pushes Chris away. But Nicole has been pretty great at compromising, and she's been quite encouraging. She's been open to change and new ways of doing things. I think she's been pretty chill. Chris has actually gotten on my nerves way more than her, so that was a big shock. Another one I got shocked about, Kirsten and Shaq. Okay, the Kirsten is another one I underestimated. Okay, I thought this whole time that it was going to be her acting up, but okay, they seem to be getting more comfortable with each other. They seem to be being themselves around each other. Whether that's a compliment or a diss, that's what I see. Like, because that could be a good or a bad thing. But they seem to be themselves, like, not anymore behind airs. They seem to be comfortable as is, as opposed to like Eris and Jasmine, who are just super distant, right, when they're in the same room at all times. Like, at all times. Kirsten and Shaq are being more comfortable, and that'll get them closer to the vulnerability that they've been longing for. Dr. Pepper comes over to offer them guidance on what they like to be guided on, and Kirsten asks for guidance on how to communicate amid disagreements, and Dr. Pepper advises 1, make no assumptions, and 2, do unto others as they would have done to themselves. How would they receive this? And I think that was pretty solid advice. And Kirsten finally opens up, like for real. Dr. Pepper asks her, were there things from her family or childhood that affected her? And she says when her parents split up, she felt ashamed. And it caused her to be pretty closed off, and she dove into independence quickly. Shaq opens up and says that his mom worked so much and he was missing, her presence a lot in the household. Then he didn't even meet his dad until he was 17 and really didn't build a relationship until after growing up and having a conversation with the dad about actually moving forward and forgiving the past, right? And I think both Kirsten and Shaq, they have really interesting stories. So hopefully they continue to share with each other more. Because they're so similar, and I think they can, they're both really good listeners for each other, it seems. They're both articulate. I think they should share in their life experiences, and I think maybe they just needed to kind of get the wheels spinning, and I think Dr. Pepper was a good catalyst to kind of set it off, and I think they can even expound on the things that they talked about with Dr. Pepper in private just to get to know each other more. I don't know if I'm wishing on a star here, but a girl can dream. Dr. Pepper asks about their intimacy, and they're both waiting on the other one to speak. Eventually, Shaq says that they're doing better at it. He says that Kirsten wants affection at the worst times, and he wasn't in the best mental space emotionally at one point when she was trying to get the affection. I don't know. I definitely get not being in a good space mentally. And I also get not neglecting your partner, especially when y'all are trying to progress. But again, mental health is crucial. And I can see Shaq feeling like everything has been happening on her time, right? So if he wasn't in the mood in that moment, he's probably like, I'm not in the mood. Like, I don't have to be in the mood. Like, you do it all the time. You know, Kirsten has not been in the mood this whole time, it seemed like, up until now. I did think it was kind of cute that Kirsten got upset with Shaq one morning when he didn't give her the usual forehead kiss. And I hope he didn't like take that negatively. You know, it just means she wants affection from you. You know, it wants to show you she's open to it now. You know, my man does the exact same thing to me. Okay. But I wake up at 5:45 and I'm very clumsy. So I could be really loud in the morning because I'm like knocking stuff over, dropping stuff, just loud for no reason. I'm just super clumsy. So if my man is snoring and still asleep by the time it's time for me to leave the house, I usually like to just leave him be, because, you know, he has gone back into that deep sleep and I don't want to disturb him. But he usually ends up calling me by the time I get to the front door of the building to ask why I didn't kiss him goodbye. So that's what I'm saying. Shaq, don't take it negatively. You know, we want to be, you know, kissed while leaving out the door by our partners. Now, I do kind of believe Kirsten when she says Shaq was lacking affection, time, and attention. Like, my bad, Kirsten. I think Kirsten is opening up and Shaq is now doing the rejecting. But of course, if he is rejecting her, it's in response to how he was treated first. Dr. Pepper tells them to graduate from those lousy forehead kisses and start tonguing it down. Kirsten says she's open to it. Even Dr. Pepper has to tell Shaq to give off masculine energy, give off his masculine desirous self. Even before Kirsten was rejecting him, Shaq was lacking BDE. He just needs some aggression or something. You know, I'm starting to get it now. I am. Shaq is handsome, but he doesn't have, you know, no swag, or at least the kind of swag to just, you know, bag Kirsten right off rip. So I hope he steps it up. He says he knows what he needs to do. They're both in their pajamas at the next scene, and they're about to eat some takeout. I was wondering, have they turned on their stove yet since they've been in the apartment? Kirsten asks Shaq for help with her real estate logo and if he sketched something up. I thought that was a really, you know, nice moment for them to share. They seemed pretty comfortable with each other and they were maneuvering with no awkwardness at all. So I was like, go Shaq with his multi-talented self. He could do it all. I know that's right, Kirsten. Kirsten was like, what else do? You build houses? Websites? What do you do? What else? What else? And just pay him in kisses. Kirsten, trust me. A valuable form of currency in the land of men. Kirsten is turned on by Shaq and his talents, and I love that. That's so understandable. I was smiling from ear to ear watching their scene, especially because at the end of the last episode, we saw they kiss, so I was already on the edge of my seat waiting. They're asking each other questions prompted by the experts. Shaq asks Kirsten, what does she need to feel safe and secure in the marriage? And she says him showing her he's able to take the lead. So then Kirsten and Shaq are about to do body painting. This was Shaq's idea since Kirsten said she wanted him to take the lead more. And I thought that was super fun. I loved it. I thought that was a great idea, Shaq. But it was kind of weird because I felt like Shaq was painting her like he was slow. Like he was just like rubbing paint on her, like, make her tinkle in all the right places with, you know, the physical contact. You know, it's supposed to be a sensual moment. You know, you could have put some on her legs, her thighs, you know, try to be sensual. But I don't know if Shaq knows how to flirt. But at least Kirsten is keeping the vibes going, and she was actually liking what he was giving, and that is all that matters. She's in her sensual mood, and she's giving him that reassurance. She's flirting, she's feeling him. I don't know. Will I have to backpedal and apologize to Kirsten for dragging her when she was telling the truth and Shaq was the culprit all along? Because I will if I have to, Kirsten. Let me hold off for one more episode. But after one more episode, and if you're still in your bag, I'm definitely apologizing, sis. Because Kirsten seems, emphasis on the seems, super into Shaq. And then she says, this is what she had been wanting all the time, waiting for all the time. So just the fact that she's even so receptive to Shaq lets me know she either really likes him or is growing an attachment to him because of his presence. Because women do that too. We get attached to people that we don't really like. It's just that once we get used to their presence, get used to the masculine energy, get used to having, a male energy to cuddle us and all that, we grow attached. So either she really likes him or she's growing attached to him. Either way, I've been longing all season for Kirsten to like Shaq, so I'll take what I can get while it lasts. Kirsten still looks kind of crazy in her confessionals, though. I don't know. How many times does Kirsten blink? Then Shaq pulls a big one. A huge one. The moment we've been waiting for. Shaq fills her mouth up with whipped cream. He takes a bite out of a strawberry and they just smash their lips together and attempt to kiss. I think he could have done two things differently. One, he should have had the whipped cream and given her the strawberry. She's already fully covered in paint. It's your turn to get messy. Second, less whipped cream. They couldn't barely get to each other because Kirsten couldn't purse her lips with all the whipped cream in the way. Good intention, poor execution, but they shared the strawberry and even shared another one after that. Now they just can't stop kissing, and I'm here for it. Kirsten dancing all on them. She in her bag. She's happy. They feeling it. I really liked it. I can't wait to see what y'all are saying about it. I can't wait to see what everyone is saying. I gotta watch everybody's reviews because I know y'all are going off. I really can't wait. I'm happy for them though. And Kirsten is ready for the D. If Shaq messes this up, now he is foolish because Kirsten is with it. She said it. She was like, if it happens, it happens. So I'm here for that. I loved it. Clint and Gina. Every time I see Clint, I think of Gina's dog. So that just makes Clint just absolutely adorable to me, especially when he smiles. He looks exactly like that dog. And he has like a kind of childish, boyish, innocent vibe to him. He's just adorable like that little puppy. Clint wants to get closer to knowing the inner Gina. From now on, when people say this, because Shaq has said this about Kirsten too, they're going to have to show footage of them actually asking these deep, open questions. And the spouse verbally declining to answer said questions. Because don't keep saying someone isn't opening up or you're longing to know the real them when you aren't even actually inquiring. Some people like to talk about themselves and will tell you their whole life story over cocktails. Me. Others need prying and inquiry so they have something specific to start with. Then they can, veer off from there. But saying, okay, open up to me, just isn't going to cut it. Dr. Pepper attempts to get them to be more vulnerable since they've been having all this fun so far. But that's not all they're here for. And boom, Gina says exactly what I just said. Clint keeps saying he wants to get to know her, but he's not asking her anything. Then he says she needs to ask him questions. What are you talking about? This was about you wanting to get to know her. That's what you say. You said that you wanted to do this. So how is, not saying Gina doesn't need to get to know Clint, but I'm just saying if Clint's whole plight is he wants Gina to open up and he wants to really get to the crux of who she is, what does that have to do with her asking him questions? I think Clint is overthinking it and he's being difficult about it. Dr. Pepper just asked her a very specific question and she opened up and elaborated immediately. So maybe Clint just isn't much of a natural conversationalist to ask Gina the questions he wants to know about her. But stop putting it all on Gina and stop saying what you want and just do something about it. Ask the lady the deep questions. The questions in the questions in the jar game did Clint and Gina a lot of good. They were both elaborative. They were both being vulnerable. They were both open. They were both letting the other speak and just get all their thoughts out, listening very intently. And I love that Gina said that they were going to answer all the questions in the jar. And I love that they both answered all the questions. They literally live in the same building. I think they should just make it work and just cut it out. Like, just make it work. Come on. Jasmine and Aries. Jasmine is of natural beauty. And I will give Aries a compliment. Because honestly, this whole episode, like, nobody was too bad. I think, honestly, the worst of the episode might have been Jasmine. I think she might have been the villain of the episode for me. I think Aries, he seems like actually a nice dude in real life, right? He's actually not been like totally terrible. He's a terrible husband to Jasmine, but as a human, I think he's been a decent human to Jasmine for the most part. You know what I mean? Again, totally outside of him being a husband. Dr. Pepper calls out them not making any progress and asks what could help them connect. Jasmine says she leans on Aries to have deeper conversations, and I get that. She probably wants him to ask her questions about herself and try to get to know her. But she says him not being attracted to her hurt her feelings. But then everything after that was just taking tens of steps backwards. I do not want her to keep talking about what she needs to give him and do for him. She's just pretty much justifying why she's about to continue to look like a fool for him on national TV. There's nothing else Jasmine can or should do to try to gain Aries' attraction. This is a wrap. Let it go. Dr. Pepper asks her to share something with Aries so he can get to know her a little better. She mentions her mentorship with the young ladies and how she preaches to them about sticking up for themselves and being comfortable with themselves. But she's not practicing what she preaches. When Jasmine further elaborates, you can really tell she's hurt at this point, right? She's trying to withhold it and put a pageant smile on, but her self-esteem is being chipped at constantly the further along she goes in this process. She's mentioned a few times that she just started loving herself. And I think that self-love could be being put to the test heavily while in this process. And she's probably being tugged from the self-love side back to the old ways and habits side, you know? But honestly, Jasmine, this is a no-brainer. So at this point, I think you might be getting off on the rejection. Because this is a no-brainer. Dr. Pepper asked Jasmine if she thought about it not Aries' attraction or lack of openness or lack of communication or interest. Maybe it doesn't have anything to do with Jasmine. It might fall on Aries. And I mentioned that some episodes ago, I think closer towards the beginning. Dr. Pepper puts it on Aries is emotionally unavailable behind, and Aries is just looking there stupid and silent. And I've already said this some videos ago. There's just nothing for Jasmine to do. You know, there's just nothing else she could do. He wasn't physically attracted to her. That's it. His wall wasn't going to come down after that. Aries came to have sex. He's not having sex with practically a stranger he doesn't like to look at, where he can go find a stranger he does like to look at. Aries does start speaking on all this tragedy that's occurred in his life, and I do feel like it's BS and deflecting. Like, you not opening up with her has everything to do with the fact that you aren't attracted to her, and you know you're not gonna stay with her. So why waste time? And I'm not saying his tragedies, you know, don't affect him in his relationships with women, because I 100% believe they do. I'm just saying with Jasmine, it's not because of that. It's because you're not attracted to her. For this scenario, it's none of that. But I think Jasmine is such a cutie. Like, look at that little cute face. She has such a cute face. Like, when she's just sitting there, especially when she doesn't have makeup on, I think she's so cute. Jasmine has a good perspective. She opens up about being raised opposite of Aries. She was raised with both parents, and these parents who tried to paint a perfect picture. She's never even seen her parents argue. And I appreciated technically both Aries and Jasmine opening up. I just wish it benefited the relationship, you know? I don't have high hopes at all, though, and I don't like that. So y'all are doing all this opening up for what, essentially? When Aries and Jasmine are asking the questions from the experts in the jar, Aries asks, what does Jasmine need to feel safe and secure in the marriage, and why? And she says she can't think of anything. And I was thinking, yes, good for you. No need to think about what it takes to feel safe and secure with Aries when Aries is not going to be that guy for you. But then she just continues on acting over it and acting disinterested. I didn't know Jasmine was just going to sit here and dodge every single question. That's just counterproductive. Like, don't go out salty like that. You know what I mean? Jasmine can be much more graceful if you're going to go to the end, which is what she's doing. She's deciding to do. And I'm worried she's going to like start coming off real bratty. Like, no, he's not attracted to you. He doesn't romance you. He takes you on bad dates, but he hasn't been outright horrible to you. He's been a nice dude for the most part. So, she can't be salty with him the rest of the season just because he's not attracted to her. She has to accept it and move on. He's trying to, at this point, now they're still in the show. They're going to ride it out to the end. So here we are. Now Aries is trying to play the game that the experts have assigned. He's trying to open up and have these in-depth conversations that Jasmine said she wanted to have to get closer emotionally, but now she's being childish about it. Now she's not wanting to answer anything or offer anything to the conversation. And that's that childish stuff, Jasmine. Jasmine's mom comes by the apartment, Miss Yvette. She's speaking with Aries alone, but I kind of thought it was pointless. But I did think it was a good scene, a good scene, all in all. But I did think it was kind of pointless. Apparently, the dog Duchess that Jasmine brought to the apartment bit through Aries' shoe, and he says, pardon me, he says he thinks he handled it well. I wouldn't even yell in that situation. You're going to pay up immediately, though. Aries actually describes how the conversation recently went with Jasmine after she said she wanted to have more open conversations. And he was honest. And I saw it the same way he said it. And again, they should really leave the show. But if you're going to ride it out until the end, why be attitudinal the rest of the way? Like, why go out miserable? Why don't y'all just enjoy it, enjoy the food, enjoy the free food, the per diem food, enjoy the free drinks, enjoy a free nice apartment while it lasts. Go do some fun stuff, get your camera time. I don't know, promote a business while you're at it. Have some fun. Like, why go out just miserable because he's not attracted to you? Like, we're over a month now. It's not changing. It is what it is. Like, it's okay. This is a whole complete stranger. It'll be fine. Come decision day, chunk the deuce, go on about your life. Jasmine's mother brought up Aries and Jasmine agreeing to not have sex until after decision day. And when you fast forward a bit, I really like how Jasmine's mom is appreciative of Aries' honesty and openness. She's actually listening to what he's saying. Aries can at least say he's given her what she wants. And I think she still wants him to like her and to have sex. I don't know why, but I think so. For a second, he almost had me thinking. Aries almost had me thinking he'd actually end up staying married to Jasmine, but I'm smarter than that. Next episode, Shaq says him and Kirsten consummated the marriage. Y'all, that was not on my bingo card at all. I am truly eating my words. I never saw this coming, but I'm so happy. So I'm excited to watch the episode tonight. Jasmine is seen twerking on a stripper pole. Aries is seen dancing with another woman while Jasmine is crying. Mackenzie slides into Gina's DMs. So I think we might be thoroughly entertained for the rest of the season. But I thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much. Please like, comment, subscribe. Give me your feedback. Who was the villain of this episode? Because I think it was Jasmine. I think she was acting bratty and ridiculous. But let me know what you think. All right. I'll check with y'all later. Bye.